Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Top Flight Pod. You know what it is. You know what we're here to do. We're back on screen today. Beautiful Austin, Texas. Now, you got me in here today. Solo mission, kind of like a We Are Austin TV post-match Twitter space. Although today you'll get a more calm version of me, I promise. On the space, I was very animated. Got hectic, but it is what it is when you lose against the worst team in the Eastern Conference, right? But hey, you got me here today. A lot to talk about. Austin FC news, of course. We'll recap a little bit of the game. A lot was already said on the Spanish podcast and also on the post-match Twitter space, but we'll focus a little bit on the quotes that we got from Nico and Myrto Uzuni, Coach Nico, that is, and some other Austin FC news that are going on. Of course, the Beloko situation. We'll go ahead and talk about that. See what my thoughts are on that current situation. But before anything, I want to send a shout out to the folks on Patreon, to the folks on the Discord chat. A lot of hot takes, a lot of interesting points. A lot of funny things being thrown out there, but love it every day, waking up to something new in that chat. It's the Patreon members, and I'm very thankful for the support. Everybody at We're Austin TV is very thankful for the support that you guys give us, and it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be able to go to the Open Cup in Minnesota. So expect coverage from us up in the semifinal for the Open Cup against Minnesota. Cannot wait. But like I said, it wouldn't be possible without the Patreon members. So big shout out to you guys. But like I said, a lot of Austin FC news to get into. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. Now today, actually tonight, we got news that Adidas 2026 MLS Archive third kits, Austin is amongst those teams. Now, the list of the teams are, like we said, Austin FC, Chicago Fire, the Houston Dynamo, Montreal, Orlando City, the Philly Union, Real Salt Lake, and Vancouver. Those are the teams included in the Adidas 2026 MLS Archive. Now, this piece was included in the article released by Footy Headlines. I'll go ahead and read a little bit of it. It says Adidas will release Archive third kits for select MLS teams, starting with a few teams in 2024, expanding to 10 in 2025, and then to 8 more teams in 2026. As we mentioned, the 2026 teams, it's 8 of them, Austin FC being amongst them. And the kit designs here, it says the designs for the 2026 Archive third kits will vary, with some drawing from some of the team's history and others being newly invented classics set to launch in summer 2026. Now, you have to think, ladies and gentlemen, that Austin FC will fall into those new kind of designs because there's not much history to pull from the club. What are we going to get? Like a OG Five Stripes Archive kit? Or we're going to get a Legends kit? Remember that white one with the green? I really like that one, but it gets a lot of criticism from the fan base. The V-neck gets a lot of criticism. John Gallagher apparently hated on it on the podcast. Shout out to my G. He said he loves all of them equally, though, but the V-neck was outlandish. He didn't say that, but he didn't like it. Some examples here, ladies and gentlemen. We got the Chicago Fire, the Philly Union one, Real Salt Lake, and the Whitecaps one. You can kind of maybe base a little bit off of what the Austin FC one is going to look like. Some more examples here. This is from 2024. Everyone has seen this Miami one. I've seen a lot of them here in Austin. The LAFC one, it kind of reminds me of like candy from Halloween that nobody really wants to eat. The Timbers one really looks like the baseball font. Kansas City one is just classy. I love it. Really good design. Fun to look at. I'm sure it's even cool to wear. And the Galaxy one, I think, is maybe the best one out of all of them from those third kits in 2024 because it just kind of aligns so much with that team's history. And I think maybe they might have the most history in MLS. I don't know. That's a whole nother conversation. But just to give you some more ideas, this is what was included in the article as well. Up next, the Archive collection. Guess the 2026 lineup. Well, I think we kind of know now thanks to Footy Headlines. Austin FC being in the list for third kits in 2026. Very exciting. Bit of a collector's item. Whether it's a good design, whether it's a bad design, I know folks are going to buy it, maybe have it on their wall, maybe have it on their table, maybe have it in the podcast studio. Who knows? I'm going to get one, probably 2, one to wear, one to frame on the wall. We'll see what the design looked like. But to me, it'll be a little bit of a collector's item, I must say. But we'll see what happens. We'll see just how much it's going to cost. Usually those things, run like $100, $120. I'll buy 2, though. I'll buy 2, and we might give one away. I don't know. Staying on the Austin FC news as I take a drink of my purified water, let's talk about Nicky Beloko real quick because that's something that hit the Austin FC community, Austin FC mainstream media, like a train, like a truck, as my G Primo says. Nobody really expected it, although maybe there were signs on the wall. he was present for the meet and greet, so everything seemed to be good. Austin FC transfers Nicky Beloko. This is from the Austin FC website, screenshot from there. And as the days went on, there was more things that came out on social media. Not so many details, but we'll try to get into them here in this topic right now on the Nicky Beloko situation. Now, as everybody knows, he was signed to a team in Switzerland, but we'll read a little bit of the press releases from the club. Now, this is from June 30th when Beloko was initially signed. Now, Austin FC announced that the club had signed midfielder Nicky Beloko via a free transfer. Beloko, 25, joins the Verde and Black on a deal guaranteed through the end of the 2028 season with an option for 2029. Now, I guess this next part is important. Beloko had received his P1 visa and can begin training with the team on July 1st, when his contract with Austin officially begins. Beloko signed his Austin FC agreement in January 2025 with less than 6 months remaining on his contract with FC Luzerne at the time. He's officially eligible to appear in matches upon the opening of the MLS secondary transfer window on July 24th. So this is a guy that was already wrapped up with the club before his contract ended. He knew what was coming. He could have planned for it. So that's why what developed in his last couple of weeks here at Austin just doesn't really make sense. Although in the next press release that I'll read, Austin kind of explains that it was personal problems. But then I'll read something else, and it kind of adds another spin to it. But here we have the press release from the Beloko transfer out. It says, this is from Thursday, August 21st. Austin FC announced today, this is August 21st, that the club transferred midfielder Nicky Beloko to Swiss club Lausanne. Beloko recently arrived in Austin via a free transfer as he departs on a free transfer, with Austin retaining a 15% sell-on fee for a potential future transfer, if that ever happens, right? Now, this is a quote from the club, from sporting director Rodolfo Borrell, exactly. He says, quote, "We made the decision to help Nicky return to Switzerland out of respect for personal circumstances, and we wish him all the best in the next step of his career," said Austin FC sporting director Rodolfo Borrell. Quote, "As we enter this important final stage of the season, we remain confident in the quality and depth that we possess in the central midfield." Now, this is from Beloko signing, kind of detailing how he spent a lot of time in Switzerland. That's his home. He is returning back home essentially with this signing back to Switzerland. But it raises a lot of concerns, right? It raises my eyebrow. It makes you ask a lot of questions. What happened? What did something happen? What made him change his mind? What did he push for this move? We don't necessarily know exactly, right? And I can't be talking on here like I know why Nicky Beloko was let go before even completing a month with Austin FC. Now, I mentioned he was at the meet and greet. He met a lot of fans. I'm sure he signed some jerseys or he signed some posters or something. And it's just interesting. And it's very interesting because you'd think that if this is a sporting issue or if this is maybe Nicky Beloko was not good enough, that the scouts would have been able to be able to filter this out before he had signed with Austin FC, before he had got here with the club. So it does make sense that it was a personal problem. Does make sense that it was, kind of family issues or whatnot. But I found this on social media, some of his tagged photos on Instagram. You have his agent here saying home sweet home. We all know it's like a homecoming. Of course, big smiles there. Very happy. Now, this here is from MBOA Football, and I'll read it here. This says, 25-year-old Cameroonian midfielder Nicky Beloko surprised everyone by joining Lausanne Sport in the Swiss Super League just months after signing with Austin FC in the MLS. Now, according to his entourage, this decision is driven by family reasons and his desire to remain competitive in Europe at an age where he can still progress. Beloko, who has already had international experience with Cameroon, has signed a 3-season contract with the Swiss club. Now, this is kind of repeated here with Lions Tracker. They say a few months after signing for U.S. Major League Soccer side Austin FC from FC Luzerne, 25-year-old Cameroonian international midfielder Nicky Stéphane Medja Beloko, full name there, wow, has returned to the Swiss top flight. Medja Beloko has signed a 3-year contract with Lausanne. The motives for his sudden return to Europe are based on family reasons and the need to continue competing in Europe, especially since he is just 25. So kind of the same information repeated there, maybe a little bit of changes here and there. But the need to compete, the need to, according to his entourage, Sutherland's interior, based on family reasons. And we remember a little bit back, he got married. There's concerns amongst the Austin FC fan base that maybe his wife maybe couldn't make it to the United States. Maybe they didn't allow her to get her visa, right? A lot of questions there that we don't know, and we can only speculate on it. But what we do know is that he's gone. He left on a free transfer. Austin FC kept 50% of a possible future sell-on fee if that ever happens, right? Who knows if that ever will happen? But it might. It very, very, very well might. But now Beloko is, like his agent says, home sweet home. And we wish him the best of luck. I'm sure there's fans out there that wanted to see him play, because when you're an Austin FC player, everybody wants to see you play in this fan base. You got to show us that, you have the quality to wear this badge. You got to show us that, you have the quality to wear these colors, to represent this organization, this club. And never got to see him. Played a game behind closed doors against Charleston Battery. Nobody saw it except the Texas Sun and everybody who was present that day at Q2 Stadium. Best of luck, Nico Beloko. And we might see you soon. But alrighty, we'll keep moving forward. We'll get into the Austin FC match against Montreal. Now, I like to start off with general thoughts. Like I mentioned on the space, I was heated. On the space, I was very animated. You know how it gets on those spaces. Everybody knows how I get every now and then. There's been good results. I think we do have to point that out. And I'll just get into my general thoughts real quick before we get into some post-match quotes and some details from the match. Now, it is 6 games, 1 loss, 2 wins, 3 draws, totaling 9 points out of a possible 18 from those 6 games. From a team or club point of view, I'm sure there's people within the organization that will take those results, will say, hey, we're still getting points. We've only lost, 1 game, which is the one against Montreal, which we'll get into that here in a little bit. Coach Nico might say, hey, this is the first game we lost in 6 games. Cut us a little bit of a break, but we'll hear from him here in just a little bit while we get to these general thoughts. But when you're chasing the playoffs, when you're dancing on this very thin line, when you're on thin ice, when we're talking about the Western Conference, you just can't fancy yourself. You can't afford to have these kind of results, especially when half of those 6 games were at home. It's just unacceptable. And I was very clear on the space. I was very, very clear. I was clear as day. And I don't want to repeat myself too much, but it's just not good enough. It's just not good enough. And the boys know that. The team knows that. There was a lot of dialogue like that post-match in the press conference. They know it was not good enough, and they don't want to commit the same mistakes. Myrto Uzuni talks about that. But the fact is, you're chasing playoffs. You cannot afford to have these mistakes, and you commit them. You commit them. And now you back yourself into this corner where, yes, you still control your own destiny, but you're in a situation where, and the players are saying it, every game is a final. And I think that's a perfect way to get into the post-match comments. But real quick, I just want to say this. Thanks to some unfortunate injuries, I'm talking about the one to BV9, because ever since then, it seems like everything has gone kind of just downhill. Some other things, probably, maybe some tactical issues or whatnot. It's not impossible for this Austin FC side to turn things around and solidify themselves in a good playoff position. Like I said, things are still in their hands. But a lot has to come from this Austin FC side, coaches, players, everybody in the organization from top to bottom, from squad building, from leadership, from the president. Things just have to be done better. And that cannot be given to you just from the vibes from the fan base. There's things that the fan base can give you, but these things, the ball's in your court. And although you can say everything in the post-match pressers, sometimes you need it in the field of play. And yeah, like I said, it was 6 games, 1 loss. Like Diego said, you can't follow the results too much. But when you look at the Houston game and the Dallas game and the Montreal game and you combine them, Austin has not shown a good level where you would feel confident that this team can do something in the playoffs. Because although they are scoring goals, 2 against Houston, 1 against Dallas, 2 against Montreal. When you can't finish out games, what do you strive for? And we'll leave it there. Let's get into some post-match comments from Coach Nico Estévez. We'll start off with that. El Profe Nico. 3 clips that I have here. We'll get into them and we'll react to them one by one. We'll start off with the first one. Let's see what this one is. Here.
So just your thoughts on the defensive performance and how that went.
I mean, no good, as you said. It's very difficult to win a game when you concede 3 goals in the way that we conceded. All of them, we could avoid that, and seems like it didn't go in our way today in some of these situations. Some because of us, the mistakes that we make, and others from lack. But we weren't good enough in that side, and we have to do better, and we have to do better.
Okay.
Now, this here didn't really sit well with Diego Valencia. Shout out to my G from the Spanish podcast. He said that it's not his fault. It's not Coach Nico. And we've seen this side of Coach Nico before where he takes all the blame. He doesn't put any player under the bus. He kind of talks about the defense here in some of the clips, but no players thrown under the bus. He doesn't sacrifice anybody. He sacrifices himself first. And then he says, I put myself first and then the team. So maybe that's left up to people to decide for themselves. Who's here to blame for this game? Is it Coach Nico's decisions for the starting lineup? If Danny wouldn't have been suspended, it would have been the 5th consecutive time that he went out with this team. Should he have started maybe somebody else instead of Diego Rubio? Is Diego Rubio playing an insane amount of minutes that he can't necessarily handle? It's a lot of questions. Right? When you talk about, was it Coach Nico's fault? But when you get into the player department, you start thinking about, is it their will? Is it the energy? Is it the mindset? Is it the mentality? Is it the tactic from themselves, right? But Coach Nico defends them in that department as well. He says that it's not because of that. The players want to win. The players are killing themselves. They want to win. They're doing everything they can to win games at home in front of the fan base, and it's just not happening. And they're trying to figure out what is going on. And that's from Coach Nico. So I like that he's saying, hey, I have some fault in this. But I kind of agree with Diego. It's not everything on El Profe Nico. He made substitutions fast in this game. He brought on Gallagher. He brought on Robert Taylor when fans wanted substitutions, and they were offensive substitutions. We criticized Coach Nico for bringing on Savovic in recent weeks in derbies when he wasn't an offensive substitution. We thought maybe the game needed a guy like Gally or Robert Taylor. This time he does just that. Substitutions were good, in my opinion. So, like I said, Coach Nico, some blame, sure, because you're part of this team too, right? But not all of it. Not all of it. Let's play another clip.
Think you guys missed Danny tonight?
I mean, you always miss your best players, and Danny so far is having a really good season since he came back from the injury, and obviously you can miss that. But I think other players had to step up today, and we saw really good performances from Owen, from Nico Versarski when came in the second half, because Ilya had a spasm in the back and couldn't go more. But I think it's important that we all know that we have to do more in order to win games. We are fighting to make the playoff, and with the performances like we had today on the defensive side and in the offensive side in the first half is going to be very difficult.
There we hear from El Profe Nico talking about if the team missed Danny Pereira. He said that of course, they're going to miss their best players. You heard what he had to say there. But the Ilya Sanchez thing, that's exactly why he brought on Savovic for him. And that's exactly why he brought on Dubrsavsky for Ilya. And not for Savovic, because, oh my God, Savovic, the game that he had, I tore him apart on the space. You can go back and listen to it there. I don't want to get into him yet. We'll talk about him here in a little bit when we get the goal clips going. But El Profe Nico mentioning Danny Pereira, mentioning that the team is always going to miss their best players, but he mentioned that other guys had good games. Owen Wolf had a fantastic game. We'll play his clip here in a bit. But, coach being a gentleman, not throwing anybody under the bus, not saying, oh, yeah, we miss Danny. We cannot move forward without Danny. Oh, we cannot do anything without Danny. it's not right to be like that. Also, it's not right to only depend on Danny Pereira. It's not right to say, oh, without Danny Pereira, our midfield doesn't work. Because what kind of message does that send to everybody else that's there? I think Profe handled it well. He said, of course, we're going to miss our best players, but there's other guys there. And those other guys need to step up. Those other guys have to do better. Those other guys, not off the hook. But did we miss Danny? In my opinion, 100%. We missed him. We did miss him. We did miss him. But you can't need him to win games or play good when you're Austin FC. You got to be able to balance that. We want Danny Pereira. We want to have him in the midfield. But you cannot rely on needing him every single game, or else you're in big trouble because this kid is constantly suspended. He's not a kid anymore. Constantly suspended on yellow cards. Not constantly either. But you know the history Danny has with these yellow cards. Let's be 100% real. Luckily, he's never really injured, although he has had some injuries. The long shot attempt against Houston, he was out for a little bit. He was out for 4 weeks, but he's usually pretty healthy. But like I said, you don't want to rely too much on a player or else you're in big, big trouble. Look what happened when Austin FC relied too much on Drusi and everybody figured it out. You shut him down, you shut Austin FC down. So we don't want to replicate that again. We got one more clip here from Coach Nico. This is a little bit longer than a minute, so just bear with me. Let's see what he has to say. Then we'll hear what Myrto Uzuni has in store for us.
Thoughts on that end of it as well.
Yeah, I think our production on the offensive side, it was enough to win the game, and also we have different other chances. I remember one shot from Uzuni, one 1v1 from Buka. There is a couple crosses that it went right there, and then no one touched it. But you in order to win these games away, you have to do really well defensively, and then if you are a team that led the opponent to those easy goals, is difficult. And we'll have to review what happened there, why we make those decisions. But in the second goal is something that we already talked, and then we worked during the week, and we didn't execute it well. Then we'll have to find different ways to make sure that the players understand better from my side. But it's something that we were working. But it's a game where we with those easy goals that we conceded and the lucky one with the PK, it's very difficult to win, and we have to look at ourselves and recognize that we didn't do a good job. Me first, and then the team.
There he is, Profe Nico, like I had mentioned earlier, him taking the blame, him first, and then the rest of the team. Profe Nico, nice guy, always, kind of showing face for his club, his team. And very interesting note there, he mentions how they had kind of studied or worked on the second goal that Montreal scored on them, and they didn't execute on the field. So a little bit annoying that Austin FC ended up conceding in that way, but it was a nice goal. Now we have some more quotes here. Myrto Uzuni, a man of little words. Now I want to send a shout out to my G Profe. He mentioned something important on X today on Twitter, and it was about the Myrto Uzuni dialogue, or the language that he had kind of chosen for some of his quotes, because we haven't heard from Uzuni in a long time, y'all. When I saw that he was sitting down for the presser, or when I heard that it was Myrto Uzuni that was taking questions from the media after this Montreal game, I was excited. I was like, wow, like we haven't heard from Myrto Uzuni in months, in ages. He deleted his social media, and really kind of ever since then, before that, it was no Myrto Uzuni. He was in the locker room, and he's committed to the team 100%. And the media, the folks that are in the media zone, you see him in the locker room, he just didn't speak to the media. And you kind of understood it because of the social media stuff and all that stuff going on or whatnot. He's very dedicated to the club. So when I saw that he spoke to the media, I was very excited. And let's just go ahead and hear some of the things that he had to say.
Of course, my
what kinds of conversations did you have as a team about where you're leaving things in Montreal tonight?
Of course, as I told you before, the most important now is to be together, because I think Austin have to be this year on the playoffs. Everyone wants that. This is from the from the president, for everyone, director, and also from the player, their mentality, ambitions. the team is the same. So I think, as I told you before, we lost one final today, but we have still 8 finals. I think so. We have to come more stronger. This lose what we did today. I think we have to become more together, unit like a team.
There you have it. Myrto Uzuni talking about the final that they lost against Montreal away from home in Quebec, 3-2. You got the graphic here on your screen. Goals by Sinchuk, Sealy, and Owusu. Myrto Uzuni and Owen Wolf pulled some back for Austin FC. But like Myrto Uzuni says, a final that was lost against Montreal. But they got 8 more to go. 8 more games is what Austin FC has in MLS left, if I'm not mistaken. Playoffs are not secured. You have a bunch of those games at home. You still got the LAFC one against Sun. Difficult times for Austin FC here coming up. But like I said earlier, the ball is still in their court. And like Myrto Uzuni mentioned there in that clip, if they play the rest of the games like finals, maybe not like the one against Montreal, although, hey, 2 goals and what coach said, our offense should have been enough to win this game. I agree with him. 100%. Tighten up things on defense. You got a whole nother story against Montreal. You win this final, and maybe you don't have that much pressure for what's coming up in MLS for you. 8 more finals is what Myrto Uzuni says. Let's see if they play with that intensity, ladies and gentlemen. Another quote here, Myrto Uzuni talking about his son. Let's hear about his family being in Austin as well.
Of course, my son named it like he became like 4 months, and when he's young, you celebrate every month. So it was one day important for me. I was not with him because we go early in morning on the training, and my son was sleeping, and I didn't see my son before I go to the training, because after training we leave directly to the airport. But it's okay. This is my job, and important they are with me here. And as I told you before, I want more to score goals to help the team, so everyone can be happy in Austin about my transfer here.
Myrto Uzuni wanting everybody to be happy with this transfer here, working hard, trying to make ends meet, trying to put the ball to the back of the net, and above all, showing you his dedication. Talking about, I believe he was talking about the time that he went to international duty, and he was trying to see his son, but he couldn't because he had to go with his national team. If I'm not mistaken, maybe he was talking about that. But if you follow his Myrto Uzuni and his wife on social media, well, you can't follow Myrto Uzuni, but if you follow his wife on social media, you see that she has arrived to Austin, Texas. Myrto Uzuni also shows up in her posts. The little boy is there with them as well. They're just enjoying Austin. But no, really happy for Myrto, for his family being here, of course. And one thing that we had always mentioned is that Myrto Uzuni was waiting for his family to arrive to Austin. Myrto Uzuni was waiting for his family to get here. He was missing that part of his game. It was difficult to be without his family. Imagine being without your family. All those conversations that were kind of being had with this in the fan base. And now that has finally happened, it's difficult to have any kind of excuse when you're Myrto Uzuni, when you have a bad game against Houston, against Dallas. When everything is kind of setting into place for you, you have to now say, hey, you know what? I got everything going for me now. I have my family here with me. For sure, maybe he still needs his parents, his brother, but his wife and his child are here now with him. And you would think that Myrto Uzuni now has everything to do his best work. And hopefully that's what we see here in the next coming match days for Austin FC. Now let's get into some goals real quick. Of course, we have here screen recording. Shout out to Apple TV and MLS for the footage. We can break down the goals that were scored by Austin FC, and of course one that was scored by Montreal. Now, like I said, on the space, got into a lot of player ratings, individual stuff like that. You can go ahead and check it out. I wanted to focus a little bit on the post-match stuff, what the players were saying, what the coach was saying, and also analyzing a little bit of the goals, right? We can do that here on screen. So let's just get to it here. We have, let's see which one this is. We'll start off with this one. Now, this is the goal that Austin FC was able to put into the back of the net. Myrto Uzuni's header, fearless, boom. You love to see it. Doesn't even celebrate it. We know what he's about. Ilya Sanchez, the captain, comforting him a little bit, telling him, hey, man, maybe celebrate a little bit, right? But real quick, I wanted to show you one thing that you might have missed. Diego Rubio receiving the ball there, knowing Miko Dessler's running, perfect weight on the ball. Miko Dessler delivers. Those are the things that Diego Rubio gives you. Those are the things that Diego Rubio can provide for your club. The problem is that Diego Rubio is not a young man anymore. And if he can continue to do this, it's great. It's fantastic. But we also need a solution when Diego Rubio is maybe not having his best moments, maybe not having his best game, maybe when he's tired, because these are a good amount of minutes that he is playing, that he is picking up. And I'm sure he loves it. I'm sure he is loving it for sure after being maybe sidelined for a long period of time because of other players that maybe were favored by the coach either for football reasons, maybe age reasons or whatnot. But Rubio is not a bad guy to have there as a plan B option. As you can see here, he has a hell of a shot. He could shoot. He places balls pretty damn perfectly for players that are making the run in. It's great to see Diego Rubio getting his minutes, getting his time out there. But I'm worried that it's a ticking time bomb in the sense that if we overplay him, we're going to pay the cost. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but we need to maybe switch it up a little bit. What if we play John Gallagher there? What if we play CJ Foddery on that 4-4-2? Who knows? But Rubio, like Owen, they're doing things right. I'm just concerned with the workload that Rubio is currently experiencing. Let's go to the next goal. Montreal's beautiful counterattack. 1-2. Let me go back again. Montreal's beautiful counterattack. Don't know why it has that buffer. Kind of upset because it doesn't show you the beautiful 1-2s in that sequence. Just unfortunate. What's up with this footage? Let's try it one more time. He passes it. The other guy wants it. Oh, my days. Fire the producer. Fire production. Let go of everybody. Unacceptable. The best part of this goal, which I wanted to highlight, is not shown. Oh, my days. All right, well, let's try to break it down with just words. It was all one touches. 5 touches, including the finish, is what they needed to put the ball into the back of the net from their defensive part of the field. 1 touch, another one, and just beautiful, perfectly timed passes, perfect weight on the ball. All youngsters moving the ball around, making Austin FC's defenders and midfielders look like just cones or statues. Stuver, great keeper, can't do anything about that finish. Everybody is on side. It's crazy. And you just got to give them praise. You got to give them praise. And I wish the clip would have played better for you, ladies and gentlemen. This gentleman, to the other gentleman, to the other gentleman. Everybody involved. Owusu involved. Sinchuk involved. Boom. Ball into the back of the net by Sealy. You got to give it to them, ladies and gentlemen. Great play. Great sequence. And when it works like that, all you can do is just clap. We got to do better, like Coach says. Next goal. This is the Owen Wolf magic. Now, Hader O'Brien playing out the back, doing a little bit there, playing Uzuni. Uzuni finds Owen. Now, from here, it's the Owen show. One guy in the dust. The other guy just left. He was like, I don't want anything to do with Owen Wolf. Carries the ball. Look at the patience. If he plays that to Hader, the play is over. He knows it, finds Myrto Uzuni, chips the ball there, ball into the back of the net. Ball into the back of the net. The quality of this player. He has the patience. He has the speed. He knows when to explode into the pocket. You can't teach that. And I might say that that's family pedigree. I might say that that's something he's probably has in his DNA from his father, from his brothers, something he learned along the line of when he played with great players. We'll see. Let's watch this clip one more time because it is just amazing what Owen Wolf does here. At the back, okay, Hader, you get your credit, but the show starts now. Now, credit to Myrto Uzuni playing the ball and then just boom right there, recognizing that he has to get going himself, but watching Owen every single step of the way, telling him where to go. Owen Wolf knows. What a play. Chip there, back of the net. That's the 3-2 for Austin FC. And you thought there was hope. You thought there could have been something else. But if you could take away anything from this match, is the quality that Owen Wolf possesses and also the quality that Myrto Uzuni possesses as well. Because I saw some fans on social media, and I'll just, I'll also point out Christy arguing with this Austin FC fan account on Twitter, on X, kind of just going back and forth about Myrto Uzuni. Does he have quality? The account was saying that it was all Owen Wolf. But you got to highlight Myrto Uzuni's effort in that play as well. The perfectly weighted assist to Owen Wolf has to be studied. Maybe I'm overdoing it there. But credit to both players. Credit to both players. And at the end of the day, in this match, Uzuni walks away with a goal and an assist. Now, he's the kind of player that probably doesn't care about these individual achievements if his team loses. You saw his aura in the press conference. You saw his body language in the press conference. Not really happy. I'm sure he's very upset. But one thing, though, he makes sure you see the Rolly. Rolly on the wrist right there or over there. Looks good on him. On his social media stories when he was active, you saw him going to the Rolex stores. Somebody got a good commission. It is what it is. Myrto Uzuni, great performance from him. I wish the team would have won, but he had a fearless header and a great assist to Owen Wolf, and I think you can at least rescue that from the match. One more clip from Myrto Uzuni. Let's see what he has to say.
Perspectives on, just kind of what happened on that play, and then also, just kind of thinking about, again, just kind of where the team's at right now.
Yeah, of course. Now after the game, we have to analyze the game. But everyone I see on the dressing room, everyone is sad because I think we have to do more. But now we have to be more together to continue to achieve our goals. The club have to be on the playoffs, and we will give. Today we lost one final, so we have another final on against San Jose at home with our fans.
Okay. And then, it seems like defense kind of let you down at some key moments in the game, some defensive lapses. So just kind of what kind of things did you emphasize going into this game? And then, now that you're on the other side of it, what kind of things do you feel like you need to work on? The whole team, not just you.
Of course, as I told you before, the team is the same. Like the team who was winning before 3 weeks, and the most important now is to be together and to fight for the same goals like the club have. So I think now we have to think what mistake we do, so we cannot do against San Jose, and we have to improve. We have to listen to the coach and all the advices. So I think every day is possibility to be better than yesterday.
Perfect way to end the segment there of the post-match comments from Myrto Uzuni and Coach Nico Estévez. Happy that his family is here. Happy that he can, finally set in the city and, be happy. He mentions how there's mistakes that they need to correct to not commit them against San Jose. And you can just tell by his aura. You can tell by his body language. He's pissed. He's not happy. And although he got a goal, he got an assist. That's a Myrto Uzuni that's just not happy with where this team is at right now. Just not happy with where the team is at right now. Was the lineup good? Was the subs good? We mentioned it earlier. I thought they were. Got to give credit to Coach Nico for realizing what he needed. An offensive sub. Brings on Galley. Brings on Taylor. Just defensive errors. And kind of just getting into a little bit more of the Montreal side. I wanted to highlight a player, Jorge Escobar. Now, this is a guy that cooked against Austin FC. This is a guy that showed quality against Austin FC. You have him here on your screen right now. Number 29, Jorge Escobar. Value at $300K. He's from Guatemala, 18 years old, born in Massachusetts, but his citizenship is of Guatemala. Agent is Rock Nation Sports. These right here are Jorge's stats for Next Pro. He is a youngster, 18 years old, part of the Montreal Next Pro team, but he is also featured in MLS. But in Next Pro, you have 4 appearances, 1 goal, right? MLS, 7 appearances, 1 goal, 1 assist. This is according to Transfer Market as of today. So the reason why I bring this up, why do I highlight Jorge Escobar? Why am I bringing up this youngster? Why is a kid from Guatemala, Lynn, Massachusetts, an important topic right now in this podcast? Why? Why think, ladies and gentlemen, I think that we have a guy that could influence Austin FC in the way that Jorge Escobar influenced Montreal with his creativity, with his fearlessness, nothing to lose, right? I'm talking about Jorge Alastuey. Now, hear me out. Before you click out, before you go away, hear me out. This is a guy from La Masia, Spanish citizenship, from Zaragoza. I see him not week in and week out, but every other match day when they play at Palmer Field, and I'm there. I'm usually always there. And you can tell he's cut from different cloth. You could tell he's from different gravy than the other boys there. No disrespect to the other players. But this is a guy that I strongly believe could have an impact or somewhat of an influence on just the creativity or the fearlessness on the first team right now. And why do I say that? Well, we have his stats here on screen. Actually, these are Michael Burton's. We have here, these are Jorge's. 17 appearances. He has 7 goals in Next Pro and 3 assists in the Next Pro level. He hasn't featured for Austin FC and MLS, so I cannot tell you anything about his MLS stats. But in Next Pro, for Austin FC, he is the most important player for FCito in the attack. Is he going to lead Austin FC to glory? The first team? No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying this is a player that could provide a similar amount of creativity or influence that we saw from Olger Escobar in that Montreal side. I think this is a perfect time to experiment with a guy like Jorge Alastuey off the bench, maybe not a starter for sure, but see what he can do in 10 minutes and then give him 15 and then see if he can handle 20. You haven't called him up. He still has 4 of those short-term agreements. Is Austin FC waiting for a certain moment? Because we did ask Profe about that, about if he's going to call Urban Torres up with Danny Pereira's suspension, and he said that those kind of he's monitoring 5 players in FCito is what Coach Nico said. And guys like Urban Torres, they're waiting for the perfect time to not waste those call-ups because he's already been called up for the perfect time because they're anticipating something to happen or something in the international call-ups could happen. So they're anticipating that. But why not Jorge Alastuey to the first team, at least for a game, just to try it out, just to see what this kid has for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. If you go see him at Austin FC2, you can tell he stands out on that field. I'm not saying he's going to save the club or lead them to, for sure, a Western Conference final. No. But he has similar numbers than Olger Escobar. You telling me this kid is a superstar? He torched you. You telling me this kid is a DP? He ran laps around you. You telling me this kid is better than what Austin FC has? Try out the youngsters, mate. Give them a chance. You don't know what you got until you try it. And that's one thing that I wanted to talk about real quick. On the space, they mentioned Eric Goodman's article. I need to read it. I've been so busy, but haven't been able to read it yet. But they mentioned how in Eric Goodman's article, he kind of just tears into Austin FC2 and Rodo Borrell and how he's not trusting them. And it's kind of true when you think about it. If you pay attention to Austin FC2, they have invested a lot. They've brought in a lot of guys, some of them free, sure. But there's some money that's thrown into this operation. It's not free, right? It's cost to at least maintain these guys, to house them or whatnot, what you pay them, this and that. But if you don't trust them, then what is the point of the Austin FC2 and MLS Next Pro? What is the point of this feeder team existing if you're not even going to tap into it at all? At all. And like I mentioned, Michael Burton, these are his numbers here. 15 appearances, 3 goals, 2 assists in MLS Next Pro. If you don't call Jorge, you got Michael Burton there. At least Michael Burton. 15 appearances, 3 goals, 2 assists. Olger Escobar. 7 appearances, 1 goal, 1 assist. Jorge Alastuey. 7 goals, 3 assists. Is this guy better than what Austin FC has on the field? Olger Escobar, is this guy better than Alastuey and Michael Burton? Or did he just get a chance and he took advantage of it? I'll leave it up to you guys. Just frustrating there. I'd love to see Alastuey. I'd love to see him play. I'd love to see him get a go. And I know a lot of folks are going to say, oh, the jump. Oh, the level. Oh. Olger Escobar. Olger Escobar. Youngster. 18 years old, Guatemala, league level, first tier. Joined 2025 in April. Attacking midfielder. 18. Jorge Alastuey. 22 years old. Cooking in FCito. Goals and assists. And I asked somebody at an FCito game, somebody high up in the ladder, I'm not going to say anybody's name. He walked by me. I was standing there and I said, hey, how you doing? Small conversation. I said, hey, Jorge Alastuey, when are you going to call him up? And he said, calma, be calm. They didn't say that he's not ready. They didn't say he's not ready. They just said that you need to give him time. You need to give him time. So it is what it is. We'll see if we ever see Jorge Alastuey or if we have another Nico Van Rice situation where they decide to leave the next pro level and go back to Spain, third tier. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Vigo Ortiz situation, left the academy because he was never getting a shot, went to Charleston Battery. Now he's a starter for them. And the list goes on of players that have left FCito because of the lack of opportunity. And there's some good players there right now. I'm talking about Jacques Barro. I'm talking about Jorge Alastuey. Micah Burton has quality. There's good players on this FCito side. They're just not appreciated enough. Or maybe the talent level is not there. But how much attention are they even getting? Are we working with these lads closely? Are we trying to develop them? I'd love to know the ins and outs of Austin FC too. I'd love to. But anyways, we got to move on. A lot of Austin FC talk here today. Now, what's next for Austin FC? You got San Jose at home, SKC away, FC Dallas away, Open Cup away versus Minnesota, and then you don't come back until September 30th, if I'm not mistaken, end of the month. Tough situation coming up for Austin FC. This is the corner I was talking about that they backed themselves into. But as we know, as we've seen, Austin FC has been a better away team than anything. We asked Coach Nico, hey, why does your team get more points away from home than in their own house? He said it was coincidence. Is it? Or do they feel less pressure? Because the fans at Q2, they're loud. There's pressure to win at home because then you get angry people on the fan reactions. You get angry me on the spaces. Is there pressure to win at home? There has to be. There should be. You want to make it a fortress. But the reality is that the team gets more points away from home. And you got San Jose at the crib, SKC away, FC Dallas away, and the Open Cup against Minnesota, which I said on the space, are you even ready for? You only have 3 more rehearsals to make sure that you're at the level to play against Minnesota, who, by the way, is flying high in the Western Conference right now. Not sure if you knew it. I'm sure the players do. I'm sure they're watching film and studying everybody on that roster. At least I hope they are. But what's coming up next for these guys? San Jose at home, must win. And I think they are going to win that game. I know a lot of people in the Discord and some folks in our personal chat maybe aren't as confident in this game coming up. But Austin FC always has a very good game against San Jose. It can get scrappy like we saw in the Open Cup. But ultimately, Austin FC came out on top. So you need to have that mindset. You want to have that bounce back factor. And who else to beat than San Jose at your own house in front of your fans? Easier said than done. I said that against Montreal. I said that against Dallas and Houston. And look what happened. But hey, you got a San Jose coming into your house, and you want to make them pay for the broken plates the last 3 weeks. SKC away, that's a dub. You got to win that game. So you could have 6 points from the next 2, and things could start shifting your way. The conversation changes again. FC Dallas away, you struggled with them at your house, but like I mentioned, your away record is better. You could snag a point in that stadium, 100%. Open Cup away versus Minnesota. This is the only game that matters out of the next 4. You could lose San Jose, SKC, and FC Dallas, but if you win away against Minnesota in the Open Cup and get to the final, have the final at Q2, everything else goes out the window. Is it harsh to say? Is it delusional? I don't know. I don't think so because I'm saying it. But if this team fails to get positive results but reaches the final of the Open Cup, there's going to be positive things said about the Open Cup run. And I think the season can probably still be saved after the Open Cup focus, September 16th. or 17th against Minnesota. Who knows? You want them to get good results leading up to Minnesota. But I'm wondering how they're going to approach it. If they're going to be cautious or they're going to go all out, focusing on two competitions at once. Is Austin FC that deep to go for two competitions at once? Tough stretch for the playoffs. And at the same time, you got to turn the corner and play an important historic match in the Open Cup. It's going to take a lot from these players and coaches. But nothing is impossible. And MLS has taught me just that. Welcome to MLS. I think about that quote all the time. We'll see what this Austin FC side does. They're more than capable to beat San Jose, more than capable to beat SKC. They might struggle against Dallas away. I see a bit of a struggle there. And I'm just going to leave it there. I'm not even going to comment on the Minnesota game because I don't want to jinx anything. And I'm not ready to talk about it when there's still 3 match days ready to go. We talked about Beloko. Mateja, Dordovic arrives. And the question is he replacing Cascante or is he adding competition to this roster? I guess you can go about both ways. You can think about him replacing Cascante because Cascante is on a high wage, very, very high number for a player that really doesn't even play. He's not used. He's on the bench, making a very, very high number for an MLS center back. Not his fault. Not blaming him at all. I would have signed the team as well. But the reality is that his minutes are not worth what the club is paying him. His output is not worth what the club is paying him. It's nothing against him. It's not a personal attack. His output as a player for Austin FC this season has not been good enough to justify what he's making for the club. And that's just a reality of it. Can he re-sign and maybe bring that number down? Is he going to work with Rodo? Who knows? Sometimes players have a big ego and they don't want to do that. But we'll see just what we get from the end of the year with Julio Cascante and what happens. But we know that Djordjevic has arrived, and either he's replacing him or he's adding competition. The reality is that there's 4 center backs now, talking about Cascante, Djordjevic, Heinzijk, and Svatok. And the question was asked on the Spanish pod by Diego. He said, is it time for Cascante to replace Svatok? And I don't think so, because Cascante is extremely cold. He has not seen any kind of minutes. He doesn't really warm up with the intention of wanting to come onto the field. And you have a Svatok that's seen an insane amount of minutes. He has the rhythm. He knows what the team needs to do in order to, kind of not commit the same mistakes because he's living it in real time. He's committed some of them himself. I'd keep playing with Svatok and Heinzijk. I would keep those 2 center backs. Although I'm all for competition, I'm all for bringing the heat to somebody that thinks that their position is solidified. I don't think Cascante can apply that pressure. I'm going to wait for Djordjevic to get integrated to the team, and we'll see what this new U22 initiative center back can bring to the table. Because only 2 center backs can play, maybe 3 depending on the way you play. But only 2 can play in this Austin FC 4-4-2 with double 6s. And right now it's Svatok and Heinzijk. So we'll see just what happens. Djordjevic, welcome to ATX, mate. We have here, of course, the graphic. New center back, Mateja Djordjevic has arrived to the city of Austin. Welcome, mate. Very excited. You don't look 22. And what's up? I mean, Beloko didn't look 25. Djordjevic don't look 22. However old he is, he's a U22 initiative player. He doesn't look that young. Buddy looks like he's at least 29. He looks like my homie. But anyways, best of luck to these guys in their game coming up. They really couldn't get the job done against Montreal. But you think that they're ready to turn the page. You think that they're ready to look forward. And like Myrto Uzuni says, not commit the same mistakes as before. We'll see. Some screenshots here. This is a play that I thought Bukhari could have done a lot better. 2 options available for him. Myrto Uzuni at the penalty spot. You can see it on your screen. Savovic crashing in at the top of the box. Another option. 2 clear options. Maybe Savovic the clearer of the 2. Bukhari takes way too long. He has a Bukhari moment. And this is what he does sometimes. He overcooks it sometimes. He overthinks it. But 2 options here. Austin FC could have gone up before the half. Just wanted to point that out. Let's go through these screenshots real quick. This is the one where Beto gets baited into. See, this is the one where the ball is lost. Uzuni at the top of the screenshot at the top left corner tries to play it to Owen Wolf. Owen Wolf is caught flat-footed. The ball is now in the path of this player that's right next to the referee, running into it. And if you can see, based on the body language, the body motion, the momentum of the Montreal player, he's recognizing the fact that the ball is now lost. He's ready to go, boom, the other way. While Beetle, his momentum is going forward, because that's what Austin FC, they were in transition to go forward. And we all know how much Beetle likes to push up. I mean, for crying out loud, he has an insane amount of goals for a left back. Not an insane amount of goals for a left back, but he has a good chunk of the goals for Austin FC. When you look at this screenshot here, Beetle commits to the tackle, and by then it's late. The player is behind him, Heinzike and Svatok keeping him on, as you can tell by the lines on the field as well. No offside, played into space, and the rest is history. Great finish by Sinchuk. And some criticism for Beetle, but I feel like I would have done the same. You know, you're at the position. He thought he could win the ball. He bites into it. He stabs. But there's nothing you could do. Nothing you can do when your body momentum is going the other way. It's tough to get back on time. Tough one there. Another screenshot here. This is the clip that we played earlier. Diego Rubio finding Dessler on the run. This is the one we talked about, Bucari, the options he had. Now, this one here is Myrto Uzuni's, sorry, no, that's Prince Owusu's miss, right? Now, this is one thing that I wanted to highlight about Svatok. At the beginning of this play, he has his arm on Owusu, but somehow he slips, and this is how the play ends. Owusu midair, thankfully misses it. Stuber doesn't have to make a save, although he had it covered, and Svatok is left bent over. What are you doing, lad? No clue there. Owusu, another angle here. What is Svatok doing? Not sure how that happened, but as you can see here, he has an arm on him, and then it ends up like this. Not sure. Little bit of a slip. I can see it in the highlights. Svatok has to do better against these kind of players. Cascante, maybe a better aerial duel kind of guy, but it's going to take you weeks to get him back to the rhythm that this point of the season is at right now. Another one here. This is Savovic's best moment of the game. I have to say, this is his best moment of the match. This is the best thing he did. He flicks it back to Myrto Uzuni, who maybe could have done a little bit better, but credit to Savovic showing us he has vision, he has quality, but for some reason it's evading him. Best thing for me that he did in this whole match. Great job, Savovic. Another screenshot here. This is the chip from Owen Wolf. Ice cold finish. Nothing the keeper can do. And you're just happy with the lad. Is that all of them? I think so. This is the Mikkel Dessler handball. This is the last one. Silly handball. In the comments on the YouTube highlights, fans are saying that they've played for 20 years, never seen something like this. I mean, as soon as it hit his hand, he knew. Hand hit the ground, started shaking his head, and the referee took the whistle to his mouth right away. Schoolboy mistake. Just got to do better. And right now, you can only just think about keeping your arms down, like I mentioned, on the space. I also went in bad on Dessler on the space, but he got an assist. He pushes up like Biru. Great assist to Myrto Uzuni, fearless header. But you also can't neglect your defensive duties. And that's a schoolboy mistake that somebody at Burnett Middle School, Webb Middle School, Dobie Middle School, as you can tell, I'm naming all the Northside middle schools. That's something a little kid does. And I think that's everything for today, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, the recent news of the third kit for Austin FC. And if you want to check out the space, it is still available. If you want to check out the Spanish podcast, it is up available. Make sure to go ahead and check it out. So have a good night, everybody. Be safe. Hope you enjoyed my ramblings for almost an hour. I think it was an hour, but a lot going on in the Austin FC universe. A lot of post-match comments from Coach Nico and Myrto Uzuni. And like I said, what's the difference between this guy, Olger Escobar, and this guy, Jorge Alastuey? I'll leave it there. Have a good night, everybody, and be safe. Ciao.